challenge are Genesis 13 through 15, Psalm 5, and Matthew chapter 5. Genesis chapter 13. Abraham and Lot separate. So Abram went up from Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the Negev. Now Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver and in gold. He journeyed on by stages from the Negev as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been in the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place where he had made an altar at the first, and there Abram called on the name of the Lord. Now Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, so that the land could not support both of them living together, for the possessions were so great they could not live together. And there was strife between the herders of Abram's livestock and the herders of Lot's livestock. At that time the Canaanites and the Perizzites lived in the land. Then Abram said to Lot, "Let there be no strife between you and me, between your herders and my herders, for we are kindred. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself from me. If you take the left hand, I will take the right. Or if you take the right hand, I will take the left." Lot looked about him, and he saw the plain of the Jordan was well watered, everywhere like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, in the direction of Zoar. This was before the land had been destroyed. The Lord had destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself all the plains of the Jordan, and Lot journeyed eastward. Thus they separated from each other. Abram settled down in the land of Canaan, while Lot settled among the cities of the plain and moved his tent as far as Sodom. Now the people of Sodom were wicked and great sinners against the Lord. The Lord said to Abram after Lot had separated from him, "Raise your eyes now and look from the place where you are, northward, southward, eastward, and westward. For all the land that you see I will give to you and to your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if one can count the dust of the earth, your offspring could also be counted. Rise up, walk through the length and breadth of this land that I will give you." So Abraham moved his tent, and he came and settled by the oaks of Mamre, which are at the Hebron, and there he built an altar to the Lord. Genesis chapter 14. Lot's captivity and rescue. In the days of King Amraphel of Shinar, and Arioch of Ellasar, and King Chedorlaomer of Elam, and King Tidal of Goim, these kings made war with King Bera of Sodom, and King Bersha of Gomorrah, King Shinar of Admah, and King Sem-eber of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is, Zoar. All these forces joined in the valley of Sidon, that is, in the Dead Sea. 12 years they had served Chedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him came and subdued Rephaim in the Ashtaroth-Karnaim, the Zizim of Han, and Anim of Shaveh Kirithaim, and the Horites in the hill country of Seir, as far as El-Arad, on the edge of the wilderness. Then they turned back and came to En-Misfat, that is Kadesh, and subdued all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites, who lived in Hazazon Tamar. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, went out, and they joined the battle in the valley of Siddim, which King Chedorlaomer of Elam, and the King Tidal of Goim, and King Amraphel of Shinar, and King Arioch of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of bitumen pits, and as the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some fell into them, and the rest fled to the hill country. So the enemy took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, on all of their provisions, and went their way. They also took Lot, the son of Abram's brother, who lived in Sodom, and all of his goods, and departed. Then one who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew, who was living by the oaks of the Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and Aner. These were allies of Abram. When Abram heard that his nephew had been taken captive, he led forth his trained men, born in his house, 318 of them, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. He divided his forces against them by night, he and his servants, and routed them and pursued them to Hebah, north of Damascus. Then he brought back all the goods, and also brought back his nephew Lot with all his goods, and the women and his people. Abraham blessed by Melchizedek. After his return from the defeat of Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Saba, that is, the king's valley. And King Melchizedek of Salem brought out bread and wine. He was a priest of God Most High. He blessed him and said, "Blessed be Abram of God Most High, maker of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hands." And Abram gave him 1/10 of everything. Then the king of Sodom said to Abram, "Give me the persons, but take the goods for yourself." For Abram said to the king of Sodom, "I have sworn to the Lord, God Most High, maker of heaven and earth, that I would not take a thread or a sandal or anything that is yours, so that you might not say, 'I have made Abram rich.' I will take nothing but what the young men have eaten, and the share of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them take their share." Genesis chapter 15. God's covenant with Abram. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. "Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward shall be very great." But Abram said, "O Lord God, what will you give me? For I continue childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus." And Abram said, "You have given me no offspring, and so a slave born in my house is to be your heir?" But the word of the Lord came to him, "This man shall not be your heir. No one but your very own issue shall be your heir." He brought him outside and said, "Look towards heaven and count the stars, if you are able to count them." Then he said to him, "So shall your descendants be." And he believed the Lord, and the Lord reckoned him to be righteous. Then he said to him, "I am the Lord who brought you from Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to possess." But he said, "O Lord God, how am I to know that I shall possess it?" He said to him, "Bring me a heifer 3 years old, a female goat 3 years old, a ram 3 years old, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." He brought him all these and cut them in two, laying each half over against the other. but he did not cut the birds in two. And when birds of prey came down on the carcasses, Abram drove them away. As the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and a deep and terrifying darkness descended upon him. Then the Lord said to Abram, "Know this for certain, for your offspring shall be aliens in lands that are not theirs, and shall be slaves there, and they shall be oppressed for 400 years. But I will bring judgment on the nation that they serve, and afterwards they shall come out with great possessions. As for yourself, you shall go to your ancestors in peace. You shall be buried at a good old age. And they shall come back here in the 4th generation. For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete." When the sun had gone down, and it was dark, a smoking firepot and a flaming torch passed between these pieces. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, "To your descendants I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, and the Kenizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites." The psalm appointed for today is Psalm 5. Trusting God's deliverance from enemies. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Give heed to my sign. Listen to the sound of my cry, my King and my God, for to you I pray. O God, in the morning you hear my voice. In the morning I plead my case to you and watch. For you are not a God who delights in wickedness. Evil will not sojourn with you. The boastful will not stand before your eyes. You hate all evildoers. You destroy those who speak lies. The Lord abhors the bloodthirsty and the deceitful. But I, through the abundance of your steadfast love, will enter your house. I will bow down towards your holy temple in awe of you. Lead me, O Lord, in your righteousness, because of my enemies. Make your way straight before me. For there is no truth in their mouths. Their hearts are destruction. Their throats are open graves. They flatter with their tongues. Make them bear their guilt, O God. Let them fall by their own counsel. Because of their many transgressions, cast them out, for they have rebelled against you. But let all those who take refuge in you rejoice. Let them ever sing for joy. Spread your protection over them, so that those who love your name may exalt in you. For you bless the righteous. You, O Lord, you cover them with favor as with a shield.